Local 44 News starts now with your forecast first.
Good evening, folks. I'm Skytracker meteorologist Torrance Gosher. Thanks for staying up a little late with us for this later edition of Local 44 News. Still plenty comfortable in the Champlain Valley. 55 in Plattsburgh, 56 in Burlington, 57 degrees in Montpelier. Some places in southern Vermont already falling into the upper 40s, low 40s in Saranac Lake. Skytracker radar painting a clear picture this evening. No weather issues for now, but tomorrow we're going to start to see the clouds and the rain return. So after a sunny start to the morning, those clouds roll in by lunch, and then scattered showers continue throughout your Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about that, the timing, how much to expect, and the flood threat right here on Local 44 News.
From WFFF, this is Local 44 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for this late edition of Local 44 News at 10. I'm Spencer Conlon. Let's waste no time and get right to it. We begin tonight with news happening around the nation this week, and another large group of migrants are on their way to the United States as President Donald Trump looks to move them to so-called sanctuary cities. Garrett Tenney has the latest for us tonight from Washington.
Let me tell you, open borders exploits children.
That's not stopping hundreds of migrants from Honduras from continuing their long walk into southern Mexico, where the latest caravan is trying to make its way to the United States. The migrants want to obtain documents that would allow them to apply for asylum in the U.S. This migrant has been HIV positive for 16 years. She's been walking with her 6-year-old daughter for the past 3 days. Her reason for heading north isn't just to seek medical treatment, but to reunite with her son after he left for the U.S. in one of the caravans last year.
He used to talk to me every week, and now I have lost all communication with him.
President Trump says he is strongly considering releasing illegal immigrants into Democratic strongholds, cities that don't cooperate with federal immigration authorities, a move to punish congressional opponents for not taking action.
We'll give them to the sanctuary cities maybe to take care of if that's the way they want it, because we can only hold them under the current law for 20 days.
California says immigrants are welcome in San Francisco.
This isn't punishment at all. Immigrants make our community better. And so if Donald Trump wants to quote unquote punish us by having immigrants come here, we'll open the door and welcome them in.
Okay, that was Garrett Tenney reporting for us tonight from our nation's capital. Back here at home, Burlington Mayor Moreau Weinberger is speaking out about the president's proposal. The mayor calls this yet another clash with the administration. In a written statement, he said in part, while this president has failed to make good on any of his past threats, if he follows through, Burlington will come together as a community to welcome these new neighbors, just as we have successfully welcomed refugees from conflict and poverty for the last 30 years. He went on to say, we know from decades of experience that newcomers to Burlington will make us more prosperous, more diverse, and stronger, just as generations of past immigrants have driven our past growth and success. Moving on now, we are your local election headquarters. Vermont Senator and Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders is out on the road again this weekend, focusing his attention to the Midwest. Sanders made a stop today at a trade union in Coopersville, Michigan, a state in which he carried back in 2016. The senator told the group he would make working with unions to develop strong apprenticeship programs a priority. Sanders says unions are a critical piece of the country's makeup.
I happen to believe from the bottom of my heart that when you look at the decline of the American middle class over the last 40 years, you are seeing a parallel decline of the trade union movement.
Sanders will also hold rallies in Ohio and Pennsylvania over the next couple of days. The senator will also take part in a Fox News town hall scheduled for Monday night. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren is back working the ground game in New Hampshire this week, and the Massachusetts senator vying for the White House met with voters today in Hanover. While there, Warren discussed a number of issues. She did have a focus on climate change. She told voters both sides need to come together to solve this critical problem. To health matters now, dozens of people gathered in Burlington for a town hall on health care with Vermont's elected officials. Hosted by Rights and Democracy, it featured a discussion with Washington Congresswoman Pramila J. Paul. The Congresswoman spoke about her Medicare for All legislation that she introduced last month, which would establish universal access to health care. J. Paul called health care a human right and said high prescription drug costs shouldn't prevent people from receiving care.
It is not unaffordable for the millions of Americans that deserve health care. It may be unaffordable for the people who are going to lose profits when we transition finally to a system that puts patients over profits.
Congresswoman Jay Paul called on Vermonters to reach out to their local elected officials. In environmental matters tonight, Green Mountain Power announces an ambitious goal of going 100% renewable energy by 2030 and 100% carbon-free energy supply by 2025. The utility made the announcement during its annual Earth Day Every Day fair in South Burlington. Right now, GMP's energy supply is about 90% carbon-free and about 60% renewable. GMP plans to boost its local energy generation and battery storage to achieve these goals while also purchasing more carbon-free wind and hydro energy. The utility serves about 75% of the state. In tonight's Crime Watch, a close call for a Vermont DMV inspector whose cruiser was struck during a traffic stop on I-91 near St. Johnsbury today. Here are some photos shared with us by the DMV. You can see a considerable amount of damage to the rear of the truck. The DMV says Ben Shelp was inside the truck when a pickup truck failed to move over and collided with a cruiser. State law requires drivers approaching stationary emergency vehicles like this one to reduce their speed and to move over if it's safe to do so. Failing to do that could cost you 5 points on your license and a $335 fine. The cause of this crash, however, is still under investigation. Finally, in safety matters tonight, Essex Police and Essex Rescue spent the day engaging in tactical training scenarios at the Thomas Fleming Elementary School in Essex Junction. Local 22's Courtney Kramer checked it out for us this afternoon.
More than 50 members of the Essex Police Department and Essex Rescue Squad spent Saturday preparing for the worst.
And it's being better prepared to handle something in our town. That's the important part, is being prepared to handle an incident that occurs here in Essex.
The two agencies coming together for tactical training at Thomas Fleming School, practicing various scenarios where they will work side by side in the height of an active situation, like a shooting, bombing, or other emergency.
Again, becoming quite clear that, people are dying waiting for care.
The Rescue Task Force training allows EMS to respond before a scene is completely cleared by police, so they can reach victims faster, treat their wounds, with the goal of saving more lives.
We're trying to get medical care to victims faster after these types of incidents.
This is a pretty big change for us, both from an equipment side of things, but also from a care perspective. We have always been trained you don't go in until, things are secure and safe. This is a very different role.
EMS is required to wear protective gear, including bulletproof vests and helmets when they respond, relying on direction from police on how to react during a possible dangerous situation.
Test the communication between the medical personnel and the police department, because our police personnel are looking out for their safety, and their job 100% at that point is the safety of the team.
Which is why it's so important to practice before an event unfolds.
We need to, step up to take care of our communities, and this is part of the expectation at this point.
Courtney Kramer, Local 44 News, Essex.
Okay, Captain Hogue, who you heard from there, said he hopes to get the Essex Fire Departments on board with the training to further improve their response to such incidents. Coming up, defying the odds, a 77-year-old New Hampshire woman coming off a knee injury. She's prepping for her third straight Boston Marathon. We'll introduce you to Joanne McAllister after this.